Admiral Zethkar's six eyes narrowed as he reviewed the latest intelligence report from the Terran front. The holographic display showed casualty figures, supply line disruptions, and most disturbing of all, the psychological evaluation of his troops. The Galactic Council's most elite forces, battle-hardened veterans from 12 different species, were suffering from what human prisoners called earworms. "Impossible," Zethkar muttered, his mandibles clicking in frustration. "Music is just organized sound waves. How can it be weaponized?" The war had been going poorly since humans joined the galactic stage 3 cycles ago. These bipedal mammals had proven annoyingly resilient, turning every disadvantage into an asset. When the Council imposed the standard pre-integration orbital bombardment, humans had retreated underground and emerged singing work songs that somehow boosted their reconstruction efforts by 40%. When economic sanctions were applied, they created what they called protest music that unified their fractured nations overnight. But it was during the ground invasion of Terra Prime that the true horror of human music became apparent. Commander Sio Vextai of the Regelian shock troops had been the first to report the phenomenon. His battalion had cornered a group of human civilians in a bombed-out shelter. Instead of surrendering or fighting, they had done something unprecedented. They began to sing. "We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday." The melody was simple, almost primitive by galactic standards. But something about the way human voices wove together, the raw emotion in their harmonies, had stopped Vextai soldiers dead in their tracks. Several Rigelians later reported feeling what humans called chills, an involuntary physical response that their species had never experienced before. Within hours, the song had spread through the ranks like a virus. Soldiers found themselves humming the melody during patrol. Some even began translating the lyrics into their native languages, though the meaning was lost. The power seemed to lie in something deeper than mere words. The Council's response had been swift and decisive. General Order 847 banned all exposure to human musical content. Soldiers caught humming, whistling, or reproducing human melodies faced court-martial. Audio dampeners were installed in all helmets. The order was clear. Music was now classified as a psychological weapon of mass destruction. But humans, as always, adapted. Captain Sarah Chen of the Terran Defense Corps had been captured during the Battle of New Geneva. As she sat in the detention center aboard Zethkar's flagship, she seemed almost amused by the heavy audio shielding surrounding her cell. "You can't stop music," she told her Zeltraxian interrogator through the translator interface. "It's not just sound, it's memory, hope, identity. You've made it forbidden, which only makes it more powerful." Her words proved prophetic. Despite the Council's best efforts, human songs continued to spread through their forces. A captured human medic humming while treating wounded Council soldiers. A work detail singing in rhythm to boost productivity. Even intercepted human communications, despite being classified, somehow leaked fragments of melodies that embedded themselves in alien minds. The breaking point came during the siege of Mars Colony 7. Lieutenant Crix of the Andromedan Assault Division had been pinned down with his squad for 3 days, listening to human colonists trapped in the lower levels. They had been singing continuously, first lullabies to calm their children, then folk songs to maintain morale, finally battle hymns that seemed to give them supernatural endurance. Battle Hymn of the Republic was unlike anything in the galactic musical database. The sweeping melody, the militant righteousness of the lyrics, the way human voices could convey both mourning and triumph simultaneously. It was incomprehensible yet undeniably effective. When Crix's squad finally breached the human defenses, they found something that would haunt galactic military doctrine forever. The humans hadn't been using conventional weapons in their final stand. They had been singing, and somehow their music had turned their defeat into a moral victory. The Council soldiers who witnessed their last stand found themselves unable to celebrate, instead humming fragments of human melodies that spoke of sacrifice and honor. The psychological reports were damning. Council soldiers were experiencing unprecedented levels of what humans called empathy, after exposure to their music. Military efficiency dropped by 60% as troops began questioning the ethics of their mission. Some units reported spontaneous ceasefires when human songs drifted across no man's land. The final straw came when Admiral Zethkar himself was caught humming Amazing Grace during a staff meeting. "It's beautiful," he admitted to his shocked subordinates, his translated voice carrying an unusual emotional weight. "I don't understand the words, but I feel hope." How do they do this? Dr. Elena Rodriguez, the human xenopsychologist who had been advising the resistance, later explained the phenomenon to the post-war commission. Music isn't just entertainment. For humans, it's how we process emotion, build community, and pass down values. Every song carries our history, our dreams, our shared humanity. When you tried to suppress it, you made it sacred. The war ended not with a grand battle, but with a concert. Human musicians, both military and civilian, performed on the steps of the Galactic Council chambers while representatives from all species listened. Songs of protest gave way to songs of healing. Battle hymns transformed into calls for understanding. And when a mixed choir of humans and aliens performed a newly composed piece called Galactic Harmony, even the most hardened warhawks found themselves moved to tears. The Council's attempt to ban human songs had backfired spectacularly. Instead of silencing humanity's voice, they had amplified it across the galaxy. Species that had never experienced music in human form found themselves creating their own versions, blending their cultural elements with human melodies that somehow transcended biological barriers. In the end, the Council learned what every human child knows instinctively: you can't stop the music. It lives in the spaces between words, in the rhythm of hearts beating, in the fundamental frequency of souls yearning to connect. The galaxy was never quiet again.